Before we start this morning with the rest of your testimony, Colonel, you and I had a discussion this morning, and you indicated that upon reflection, you thought it appropriate that you clarify either certain responses you gave yesterday, or to add to the responses you gave to the Commissioner's questions yesterday, and you had asked for an opportunity to do so before we move to the next topic. This is your moment to do so, if you may.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Chair. Okay. Commissioners, I noted yesterday Commissioner Baloy rightfully pointed out that Pangase's statement, together with mine, had the same names, the same designation of persons that were allegedly on the scene. And I don't think I did that answer justice. Upon reflection, I would just like to point out that on a crime scene, there is a scribe. So in this case, the scribe was Warrant Officer Mpangase, the one who was making notes. So what would happen is that when we are doing statements or now sitting down to discuss this matter, we would look at that scribe notes. So that would now have a list of who was there, the warehouse manager, her name, the relevant role players, the guys from Border Police, all of them. So hence, this is one document that would now be used by all of us with regards to compiling our statements. When we look at it, we say, okay, there's this warehouse manager, that's her name. There's the Border Police guy, that's his name. Then we saw a customs guy, this is his name. So, Commissioner, I just wanted to point out that would be the reason that it was exactly the same as Warrant Officer Mpangase's. But also, just flowing from that, I would like to add that there was no deception intended. And it may look like that, and I'm going to try and justify why I said that. I was the investigating officer that did obtain statements from Governor and Mkhize. Had I had an intention of misleading or defeating or doing anything underhanded, that would have been reflected in those statements that I obtained from them. My statements that I obtained from these relevant members, just thought it pertinent to point that out. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
There's one more, sorry.
Please go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Also, Commissioner Baloy, I think it's you again. Commissioner, if I remember rightfully so, you queried the investigation diary of where Mpangase had initially written information was received regarding 27 bricks of cocaine. During the normal scheme of things, if this was an inquiry that was pre-registered, meaning it was not registered on the day, then it would have been a correct sequential, chronological, diarized sequence of events, meaning from the time you obtained the information, Captain Duma called you, this is where we met, it would have flowed in a certain manner. It's apparent that Pangase did not make those notes either prior to the operation or possibly not even on the day, or even it could have been after the actual seizure. Hence, he was now writing his investigation diary up, but working on hindsight as to what had transpired. So that would be a reason as to why he would start off with information received about 27 kilograms of cocaine. Although, according to all our accounts, the number was only indicated to us much later or at just before proceeding to the depot. So I thought I'd just clarify that, Commissioner. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah. When we finished yesterday, I reserved a question to do with the diary that I had intended to come back to. If you're still going to be discussing the diary, I'll hold off for now.
We were still going to discuss the diary, but in a completely different context. So perhaps. But before you do so, I had invited the Colonel to make comments because he had requested that he be given an opportunity. and thereafter, once he's done with his comments, then Commissioner, you can put your question if you may. Colonel, there is another issue you also brought to our attention regarding an information note you had prepared, right? And the fact that your statement, the statement that you have filed with the Commission is overly brief, and you would have wanted to highlight once again to the questions posed to you by the Commissioners the detail that you had in your original information note, as you call it, but somehow did not find its way into the statement. Now, that information note, as I had undertaken to you, has been added as part of the bundle. Commissioners, is CJC 270, starting at page 954. Colonel, have you found your copy?
Yes, I've got it here, Commissioner.
If you could just allow the commissioners to get there. And this issue you raised, particularly in response to a question the chair had asked you, when you answered the question about the reasons why you moved from the depot to Isipingo. And the chair said all the reasons you had set out are not in your statement. You recall that?
That's correct.
And that's the basis on which then you sought to pull up this note. So we are at the note now. Kindly address yourself to the chair regarding the many reasons you provided yesterday in response to his questions for why you moved the operation from the depot to Isipingo police station.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I noted, and understandably so once again, that you did point out, I cited a whole lot of reasons regarding my thought process with regards to moving those exhibits, yet my statement only reflected one point. So I'd like to point out on my initial engagement with the evidence leader, I did what I called an information note, which was much more detailed. So if, with your indulgence, I would like to just read out that little paragraph that deals with what you spoke.
And what's important in your favor is that this is as far back as 2021. That's the date of the... I'm saying
Yes.
in your favor.
Yes, yes, Chair.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Chair, if you'll bear with me, I'm not sure what page it is. I'm looking at my own copy here. This file is voluminous, I'm not sure.
Just tell me
It's
leaf number and I'll find it.
Yes, okay. When we are at that heading, events at the CHC container depot.
No, tell me you are at the second page.
Okay,
third
the
page,
first, second, third page, paragraph 1.
Third page, paragraph 1 that starts with, I considered possibly
Yes.
carry. That would be page 956.
May I? Thank you, Chair. I considered possibly carrying these bags to a less congested area at a far end of the depot. In my opinion, the risk associated with conveying these exhibits to another part of the depot was greater than the risk of conveying the exhibits to Isipingo SAP, which is approximately 4 kilometers away from the depot. The depot is situated approximately 11 kilometers away from Umlazi, which is a high-risk area. I considered calling a tactical team to assist to secure the area, but decided against it as I knew their response time would be longer than I would have required. I also based this decision on the basis that the unpacking and counting at the police station would pose lesser risk. So it's just that one paragraph, Chair, that I wanted to allude to.
Thank you, Colonel. Does that save you?
I think it still doesn't cover the many reasons you gave yesterday, but I will leave it at that.
Thank you, Chair.
Before we leave this document, for the record, I think it's worth correcting. This information note you referenced, you
Yes.
prepared for purposes of developing a statement for the Commission. So it wasn't created in 2021.
No, it was.
I think the chair was under a wrong impression that when he said it's in your favor because it was created as far back as 2021. That's not correct.
I just looked at the date at the
You
end
did.
of, at the end of that heading.
Now,
I'm sorry.
you
I'm
confirm
sorry.
that this is what
I
you
do
prepared.
confirm it was done
yes,
about a month
when you're
ago.
preparing for consultation with the
That
evidence
is
leaders.
correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
And can I just, to be fair to this...
Thank you for the correction,
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Rola.
Sorry, Chair. To be fair to this witness, the other reasons are mentioned in paragraph 19 of the statement. So we only focused on the one reason in 21. Although rightfully so, Chair, the reasons he mentioned in his evidence are a lot more than the reasons in the statement. The ones he has just read from the information note, they do appear in paragraph 19 of his 14-page statement before the commission. How far Umlazi is and the fact that the weather was not great and there was a risk of working in an uncovered area and the surface area was not sufficient because of the numerous other containers around.
Yes.
So to be fair to him, that is in paragraph 19.
Of his actual statement.
Of his
actual
statement before
Yes.
the commission now.
Yes.
So it's not the only reason.
And the point he wanted to make yesterday is that in finalizing his statement for the commission, he was of the view that too much brevity crept in.
Yes.
So what is in the statement, as I understand the Colonel, he stands by. It's just that in response to a question by the chair, he seemed to go beyond the scope of paragraph 19. And he wanted to clarify that those reasons were always there and they are reflected in the information note. And he just wanted an opportunity to highlight them too.
Except when he tried to do that, he said it created the impression that he only had one reason.
Yes.
So I was pointing out that, in fact, in his statement before the commission, there are several reasons
Absolutely.
mentioned,
Absolutely.
starting from paragraph 19.
Thank you.
Yes. So we will catch you when we need to catch you, but when there are facts that are in your favor, we will mention
I
them.
appreciate that, Commissioner.
And I was going to comment, don't spoil the broth, sir. That was in your favor. Let's leave it there. Before we leave these questions of clarification, just please turn to Exhibit File 2, and I'm interested in, it's part of CJC 244, exhibit number CJC 244, and in particular to draw your attention to 656, page 656. And this goes back to the issue you wanted to clarify to Commissioner Baloyi regarding the order of events when you say in the investigation diary it appeared that you were aware of the 27 kilograms and the container before you actually got to the depot. That's what you sought to clarify,
Yes,
right?
yes, Commissioner.
And your position is that you actually learned of that detail at the depot.
Not at the depot, Commissioner. The 27 kilograms, the number was relayed to us at a briefing spot where we met Captain Duma, which was close by to the depot.
Okay, but you had made your way towards the depot, away from the home and office?
Yes, we were close to
Yes.
at a briefing spot, yes.
So I draw your attention to page 656 because that is the statement of Warrant Officer Mpangase. And if you go to 658,
Okay, just bear
This-
with me, Commissioner.
Geraldine, please.
Sorry. I can't seem to find it. 658. File 2, she said. Yeah, 658.
I'm looking for CJC 244,
244.
exhibit file 2, particularly page 656. You have located the statement.
And the page number, Commissioner?
656.
656.
And then I wanted you to turn to page 658, which is the conclusion of that statement. It appears to be dated 23rd November 2021. You see that?
Yes, that's
And I
correct.
say it appears to be because it's not most legible.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. Now, if we go back to the beginning of that statement at 656, paragraph 2, my challenge with your explanation to Commissioner Baloyi is the same quote-unquote error appears to have crept in the development of this statement in November 21 already. Because Warrant Officer Mpangase, paragraph 2 says, in the morning of the 22nd of June 21, I received information from crime intelligence that there was a container possibly containing approximately 27 kilograms of drugs, cocaine, which was kept at Isipingo CHC warehouse, destined to Johannesburg. The container number was BEAU 5, and the detail, you see that?
Yes, I see that, Commissioner.
At paragraph 3, then, Warrant Officer Mpangase continues, myself, Lt Col Jacob, and Warrant Officer Sibia, now Captain, together with the crime intelligence member, proceeded to Isipingo to look for the alleged container.
Yes.
So are you suggesting that Warrant Officer Mpangase made the similar mistake in his own statement at the time?
Commissioner, I'm unable to comment because it's not that detailed. It just tells you that he received information. There was a container possibly containing 27 kilograms of drug, which was kept at CHC warehouse destined for Johannesburg. We did receive that in the briefing. So he's not specific here, so I can't tell why he wrote it the way he wrote it, Commissioner, but I will still maintain the sequence of events as I did earlier. So I'm unsure, Commissioner, as to why he would.
I point you to this because I know that Commissioner Baloyi wants to engage you on the investigation diary, but we will have to flag this because I have questions to you regarding what is stated in Warrant Officer Mpangase's statement at that paragraph 2, as well as your statements, and we will engage later. But Commissioner Baloyi wanted to engage specifically on the investigation diary. Thank you.
Thank you. It's about, if you would go to the investigation diary, it is file 3.
Sorry, what number, Commissioner?
It's file 3,
File 3.
and then CJC 248. And then the diary starts at 800, page 800.
It's this one. 248. Right, files over. File 2.
As I understand it, we are looking for CJC 268, the investigation diary. File 3.
Page 800.
Yes, I've got it, Commissioner. Thank you.
All right. So you have that entry on the 23rd of June, and from what I understand, your explanation, your clarification this morning, this would have been entered after the operation.
That's correct.
Am I understanding you correctly? Yes. Now, in your testimony yesterday, there was discussion about, or in fact, your testimony was that when you left the depot, so you opened the container, you took what was in there,
Yes.
it was resealed, and then you instructed, I use the word instructed because I don't remember what word you used, the depot manager that the container must remain there. It must not be moved.
Yes, Commissioner.
But also you said, I think in answer to Ms. Sillo, you said there was no detention notice
That's correct.
that was issued. That's correct.
Yes, Commissioner.
All right. Now, explain this. The decision that the container should be retained there, it should not be released to its owner, it is a big decision.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. It is not recorded in the diary that there was such a decision. So we don't have a detention notice, we don't have an entry in the diary that indicates or that records that the police gave that kind of instruction? Can you just explain that?
Okay, I'm just going to page through it quickly.
Yes, you
Commissioner.
can do that.
Okay. Commissioner, your investigation diary, yes, it is an indicator of what transpired in your investigation. It's more actions that were taken with regards to who did you call, where did you proceed to, your time, and things like that. Generally, a statement would encompass that type of detail as to further locking of a container and so forth. So it's not a hard and fast rule that would necessarily have to be contained in your C-clip, but it would have to be reflected in your statements somewhere along the line to show what happened to that container.
That answer cannot be complete or correct because there is a recordal of an instruction to release. There is a recordal later in the same diary where you instructed or you cleared it for release. So that act, the opposite of the instruction to detain, is recorded. We look at your diary, we see an instruction to release. I expect that there must be an instruction to record, and I would be concerned that it will appear in a statement, not in a diary.
Yes. Commissioner, maybe I can say that Warrant Officer Mpangase was not as thorough as he should have been. I would do things like that. I diarize it.
Yes.
But just to add on to that, it's encompassed in my statement, the fact that we did seal it up again. And
Yes, no. I don't have a difficulty with it, where in your statement or in whose statement it appears. Right now I'm discussing the contents and reliability. Maybe let me put it to you that, again, it's a concern about the reliability of this investigation diary. You do record that you gave an instruction that they can release the container. So it is of sufficient significance. That's why you record it.
Yes.
There is no record of a prior decision to detain it. So your explanation that, well, the diary doesn't record that kind of thing is not correct. The simple point I'm making yet again is this is another instance where the contents of this diary have to be considered with care or caution, because it is a recordal after the events. I understand that, day one. But two, it doesn't accurately or fully account for what happened.
You are correct, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we're not moving off topic, but slightly. And now we're interrogating your reasons for deciding to move to Isipingo. And one of the reasons you stated, or two, related to risk and space. Correct?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Are you familiar with the CHC depot in terms of size and operations around there?
It was my first visit there, Commissioner.
And you complained that where the container had been placed was between two other containers, correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
And making operations difficult. Is it safe to assume that even if the containers are placed side by side, the door of the container is facing you?
That's correct, Commissioner.
So anything you take out of there, you will bring towards yourself.
That is correct, Commissioner.
If you look at these ones lined up, it's a different matter, but the manner in which they are lined up.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. So technically, you don't really need the space. Yes, we're trying to do that. Technically, you don't need the space to either side of the container, right?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioner.
So the fact that the containers were lined side by side cannot be a basis to decide not to complete the search at the scene and rather go to Isipingo. The fact that they are side by side, that's the only point I'm making.
Okay. Commissioner, I think if we had to view photos of the actual placement of that container at the CHC depot, we'll see the situation was a lot different than what we see on your screen now. It was a much more congested environment. Even when you open the doors, if you had to lay those bags on the floor, the area was minimal. It was a much, much smaller area than what we're seeing on our screens now. I think the closest we're going to get to know what it looked like was if we look at some of those photos that were flighted at some point in time, but it was a much, much smaller area that's as compared to this.
Chair.
How much more congested can it be? These are not just alongside each other, but they are against each other. So how much more congested can it be?
Meaning, Commissioner, in front where you open the doors, there was of a container.
There was a what?
The doors of your container. I would say, now I'll be estimating, Chair, but maybe there was a 2 meter, 3 meter, or maybe 2 meters, just over 2 meters space in front of it where there was, I'm not sure whether it's a fence or some kind of boundary type thing where, and then you've got an area that you've got your heisters driving up and down, you've got machinery moving throughout. It wasn't a place like this where, now that I realize it, it wasn't a designated area for an examination of a container. It did not seem, and since I was not familiar with this warehouse, I just let it slide. I just let them place it down there. I was not familiar with the layout, but it was definitely much smaller, much more congested than
The many things you are referring to, were they on the door side of the container?
Yes, if you open the door, Chair, that's what I'm saying. In front of it, maybe there was a 2 meter, just over 2 meter space, a little area. That is why I said there was machinery traversing around. It's a thoroughfare area. It wasn't a designated area for examinations.
Thank you, Chair. But you recall when we started this engagement, the issue was the fact that there were containers on either side of the container you were targeting becomes irrelevant.
Yes.
Because you can't access the container from either end, right? You can only access it from the door as you are facing it. So what you should be concerned about is the space in front of the container, not to the size of the container.
Yes, Commissioner.
Now, in response to the Chair, you mentioned
the front is the door side.
I say that front is the door side,
Okay,
the part where you open the container.
Okay.
For purposes of our engagement, I'll call it the front of the container,
Yes.
which renders the side and the back wholly irrelevant.
Sorry, repeat that.
I say, if I'm correct in my description of a container, that renders either sides of the container and the back irrelevant.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Can I just elaborate why I mentioned that, Commissioners?
No, absolutely.
Just to show that even if we laid some in front of it and laid some of our exhibits on the side to start processing, there was no space in the front or the sides. I'm just trying to give the Commission an idea of the space.
In response to the Chair's question, you said where this container was placed was not a designated area. You recall that?
Yes,
Yes,
I
sir.
recall that.
And you were aware at the time that they offloaded or lowered the container that was not at a designated area. By that you mean a designated area for purposes of searching the container, I take it?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. When you notice then that they are lowering the container at a place other than the designated area, why didn't you stop them and instruct them to take it to a proper designated area to allow you to carry out your responsibilities?
Commissioner, it was my first visit to CHC. I assumed that was the area for placing containers. I can't tell you why. It was placed there. It was high up on a stack. Maybe it was difficult to get it to the examination area. I can't recall now. But for whatever reason, it was placed there. I did not object to it upon opening it. And especially more in light of the fact, Commissioner, that we weren't expecting a quantity like we did. So for me, when they placed it, I didn't think that we're going to have an issue now of space required for processing of exhibits.
So you knew it was not a designated area, you are unfamiliar with CHC depot, and that is why you allowed them to lower it at the point that you did.
No,
But you already know it's not a designated area.
No,
You are the
Commissioner.
police officer, let me just finish. You are the police officer in charge. You are the one who is instructing that that container be availed to you. You are aware at the time that where the point at which they avail it to you is not the designated area. And you shrug your shoulders and you say, well,
no,
my first time is CHC.
yes, Commissioner.
I misunderstood you?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay,
I
please.
was not aware that this was not a designated examination area. I wasn't even sure that they did have an examination area until I heard Warrant Officer Sanders' evidence here.
Colonel, you are the one who introduced the notion of designated area. You told the commissioners that
Yes.
where they lowered that container was not their designated area. So you
Yes.
can't now say that you were not sure whether they have one to speak of.
Commissioner, like I say, I'll say it again. It's only when I heard Warrant Officer Sanders' evidence that I heard of the magnitude of the examination area and the space in this said depot. I was not aware of it.
Okay, now you remember Ms. Pile, who's the depot manager.
Yes,
You engaged her,
yes, I did.
you obtained the relevant documentation from her.
Yes,
She was present when you broke the seal.
yes.
Why, when you realized the quantity then, did you not close the container, instruct her to take it to a proper place that would allow you to carry out your work?
Commissioner, I'll maintain by those reasons that I did mention before. All of those thoughts that were running through my mind in terms of the safety of that area, the fact that Isipingo was 4 kilometers away, the fact that we had no exhibit bags or not adequate exhibit bags for it. That's the reason.
Okay, now,